Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of Taco Court Fantasy Football League podcast. I am your host, Nate, and once again, I'm joined by the Italian rapscallion, Tony, from the 58 West King podcast. How's it going, Tony?
Thanks for continuing to support my need to hear my own voice, Nate. I do enjoy talking and listening to myself speak, so thank you. But I am doing well. It's good to see your face. I missed you last Wednesday when you picked the kids up.
Yeah, I heard you upstairs recording your episode, and I was telling your wife, I was like, hey, you know how hard it was for me not to go up there and embark on what they have going on up there, right? Or to yell something outside the door or whatever like that. And I didn't know you were recording with David. So I was like, when I listened to it that morning when I woke up, I was like, I was pretty excited. And I was like, I should have jumped in on that. Or I was like, I should have came home, jumped in, the stream or whatever like that. And added to it or whatever, but you guys had a good thing. It was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. So
I was fully prepared for you to do some kind of shenanigans. So you should have next time do it.
Yeah, next time.
Hey, it was Nick's birthday earlier in the week, yesterday, or I don't know when this is coming out, but happy birthday, Nick.
Oh, happy birthday, Nick. He had said something at work yesterday about it or whatever like that. I didn't even think about it, and I don't really scroll, the socials too much to be able to see like, hey, it's this person's birthday or that whatever like that. So I didn't end up wishing him happy birthday. So happy birthday, Nick. Congratulations. You are 2-8 this year. You've got another win under your belt, and you're helping everybody else by beating the number one team in the league at the time. So happy birthday, Nick. You still suck ass, and I'm gonna cash in on all our bets against each other. So cool. So we'll go over all the standard things that we got for this episode. So if you're new here, it's broken out into we'll go over what's on top of our mind. We'll ask each other a question. We call that manager on manager. Go over some NFL news and notes or sporting news and notes there. Get into some stuff there. And then we have a draft. We'll finish out with rants and raves before we leave you with a banger of the week. It's a podcast revolved around the 12 members of our fantasy football league. We talk about sports. We talk about fantasy sports. We also don't talk about sports and nothing remotely close to it. Just to get on each other's nerves and figure out how far we can push ourselves. So let's move into it. Top of mind, Tony, coming out of last week and going into this week. What do you
got? Being the bad guy, being mom or dad or the group chat Gestapo, as I've been dubbed by some. We've got several group chats. We do like DFS. We have some betting chats. We have our New Mexico group. New Mexico one's fine. There's mostly butt stuff, just like random, getting in a rabbit hole, come back to 100 messages, whatever. But in the DFS one and the betting one, it's gotten pretty crazy. Like I've come out of Schriever, out of a windowless building to like 1,000 messages, and like there's stuff in there I'd like to see. So it's most of the times when I see that, I just don't go dig for the content I want, the betting tips, the DFS tips, stuff like that. So I had to issue several warnings to some dear friends of mine in our group chats, and I made a new all of the sidebars, or I think we labeled it butt stuff and Die Hard Christmas or something like that. So we should be good to go now in our DFS and betting groups. But my anxiety levels were up when I was sending out those messages because everybody hates that guy.
Everybody hates a new fucking group text. So I saw this thing and it pops up and it's like, it says the stuff from the old one. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I left this fucking group. How am I getting added back into it? Right. Like, and I thought I would get added back into it right away, because usually that's what we do. But I think people understood, this dude's fucking busy. You guys are talking about nonsense. Right. And I like the betting chat, primarily just for sharing things and our thoughts and ideas and stuff like that. But I'm not a big fan of the play-by-play shit and all that kind of stuff, right? It's like we're all watching the same shit. Like, I don't need to see that. It's like live tweeting in a group thread while you're doing that. So I usually end up muting those things after I send off what I got, or, once kickoff hits. But you set that one up yesterday during Monday Night Football, and I finished with like 203 messages before I even looked at it. You started it in like the second quarter. And by the fourth quarter, it was 200 something messages. And the majority of it was dumb shit, like Matt tilting the fact because he realizes that the Eagles stink because they can get ran on. And if the team plays decent defense, they can't do anything with it. So, thanks for setting up a new fucking group chat.
Well, now you can just ignore it. You don't have to go through and try and like pull out the things that you want to see that are like betting related, DFS related. You can just straight up ignore it. So really, you're welcome. I think that you should be thanking me.
I like how you added Josh Callis in that one with me too. So I was like looking at it. I was like, wait, who the hell's in this one? Right? That's not in the other one.
Yeah.
And I saw his name in there or whatever like that. I was like, oh, I don't even know if he was in the DFS one at all. But I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So I was like, I'm not gonna say anything because I'm gonna hurt feelings. So
Yeah. I thought you're on a kindness kick. What's going on there? There's
yeah,
a battle going on in your mind. I can see it.
yeah, I am the most humble, arrogant asshole. That's what I figured out this week at work. So we have a thing going on at work, and it's kind of bullshit, right? Like they gave us a couple people to support an event, uh, to go somewhere or whatever like that and do some things. And usually you get people who have been there, they're seasoned, they've been to college, like those type of people and stuff like that. They gave us two guys who've been working, in the company, I guess you could say, for like less than 2 years, essentially. Like they're super junior or whatever, and they're going to fill a position of people who are like, approaching 30 years old, have done a couple things, been across the globe, and
Mm,
step in front of a bunch of people that are like ultra, ultra, ultra smart, and they have to speak and represent our company, essentially, right? um, and basically, it was like a slap in the face to us because the people who give us the bodies for it don't like that we're doing this thing.
mm,
So so we were talking about it at work, and we're like, what do we do? Like this is bullshit or whatever. And I was like, no, fuck that. I was like, it's not. It could be seen as a challenge, but it's not really a challenge, right? It's like we're gonna turn these people into the smartest dudes in like a month. We're gonna turn them into the smartest dudes and the most humbling, arrogant, knowledgeable assholes to be able to step in front of people and do the job better than anybody else that can go and do it here, including the person who gave us those people. So that's kind of like what was on my mind. It's been heavy on my mind, like just work shit or whatever like that, which is annoying. I don't like having work stuff spill into my personal life, whatever. But it's been on my mind just because when people start to try to stick it to you and they don't, understand, hey, I've done this and created the people that are my bosses essentially. So
mm.
thank you. You're welcome, Nick. I created you. Um, and now you're,
Those are our favorite types of assholes.
yeah,
Just so the listeners are aware.
people who get shit done. So we're gonna do it, and we'll report back in mid-February and see how it went. But that's the goal, right? Shit on people, put them in shitty situations. We're gonna figure it out. So that's kind of just on my mind. So segue there. Manager on manager. I got a question for you, Tony. Fuck, Mary, kill. It's the middle of the holiday season, right? We're in November and just got done with Halloween. Some people are big spooky season people like
Mhm.
Terrence. Some people are really into, conquering nations and mass genocide and then becoming woke, and saying, hey, we shouldn't have a redskin as a logo. We shouldn't have the Cleveland Indians. We got to take this away. It's disrespectful, when they don't realize that they are taking away the last known commodity, or what do you call that? Like exposure to a type of people that we have left in the US, other than the fact that, hey, you could go to the casino or something like that, right? It's like social and mass scaled genocide from a woke perspective. Like, look, this is wrong. They shouldn't be talking about this. So we're just going to wipe you off the map completely from all relevance, and no one's going to remember you. Thanksgiving is what I'm talking about, and then Christmas. So fuck, Mary, kill, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Go.
Before we do that, uh, there was no problem with the Cleveland Indians. That name, they did not have to change to the Guardians. The
Mm-hmm.
Washington Redskin Potatoes. I mean, that's a derogatory term, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. Does that make me woke? Am I a woke person?
Yeah, like just fucking wave your Biden 2024 flags. No, I'm just kidding. No, but no, uh who knows? I don't know, man. Like they say Indians derogatory, but then like is it really derogatory? Like what about all the people in India that are like, yo, we're actually Indian, and then they just call them fucking like by their religion. So it's like, oh no, that's a Hindu or that's a Sikh or something like that. It's like, no, I'm
Mhm.
just Indian or whatever like that, right? I don't know.
That is
Maybe
strange.
we're all
That's another
just
episode, I
human.
think. That's another
Maybe
episode, I think.
are we all just human?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
For this one though, I must have glossed over it when I was looking through your notes because I have nothing on it, but I do have some thoughts.
Okay.
So you have Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. I got to make a decision here.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, I mean, that's everyone's favorite. If not, it should be. So I'm going to marry that.
Okay.
Going to have it 365 days a year, opposed to just, a month and a half, 2 months out of every year. That's
Mm-hmm.
easy. The next one, I think I get everything you can do on Thanksgiving Day. Like you can have that dinner on. We usually have some type of feast for Christmas. If it's not turkey, it's like steak and then everything else, all the other fixings. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just gonna get rid of Thanksgiving. I'm gonna kill it.
Okay.
Not for any of your Native American hate reasons or anything like that. I know what's going on in this episode. And Halloween, I'm gonna I'm gonna strip it down. I'm gonna bend it over. I'm gonna massage its shoulders. I'm gonna make sweet love to it. That's what I got.
You're gonna fuck it. You're gonna fuck Halloween. Okay. You can say fuck on this
I know you're
podcast,
not gonna.
Tony.
I know you're not gonna censor me, so I got to censor myself here.
That's the point of this thing. All right, yeah. So let's see. I'll fuck Christmas. I'm not gonna marry Christmas, and the reason why is because the night before Christmas. So it's like I've become a fan of sleep. Like this last weekend, I was falling asleep at like 7:15 to 7:30, and waking up at like 1:32 in the morning. Right? It's actually phenomenal. It's
Is
like the
that
best.
wait? Why that time? Is that right after Matlock? That's when Matlock's on, isn't it?
I went and so Friday it was like freezing cold out, right? And we went and ate pho and then got some boba, and we were gonna go to Target after because I was like, "Yo, girls, let's make waffles in the morning, but not like Egos, right? So let's make actual waffles." So we're gonna go get a waffle maker from Target, but it was like freezing cold. So we're like, "Fuck this, let's go back home." But when I got home, like by the time I got home, the car was like fully warm inside, and I just eaten all this warm food and stuff like that, and I was exhausted. So then the girls just want to play on their iPad. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a shower and then I'm going to go lay down and watch a movie. And then next thing I know, I woke up, it was fucking one something in the morning. All the lights are on downstairs. All the lights are off upstairs. My TV's turned off in my room because the girls were nice enough to turn it off and they're in their beds. Right. And I was like, oh, they're excited because they got to stay up late or whatever like that. And then I ended up doing it again Saturday because it was just like I was on that schedule and I did it again Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went to AJ's house on Sunday for dinner or whatever like that, and we ate like a Filipino soup thing or whatever like that. And I just got tired. I was like, go to bed once I get home. And I woke up super early Monday. So, but yeah, I like sleep is what I'm trying to say. And I don't get any on Christmas. And there's like an anxiety to like do everything Christmas related without waking up your children. Right. So it's like kind of annoying. And, you want to set it all up, but you don't want them to see it all, and then Santa comes and then you're like, you're making sure that they don't see Santa and all this kind of stuff. So, it's kind of like an anxious time. That one night makes Christmas kind of like, and then they rip everything apart, and then they don't like what they got, or they actually like the boxes and the wrapping paper more because then they, rewrap and send each other they like playing with that shit more than they do their toys. Just I don't know. It's kind of like and then it's over by like 6:30 in the morning, and you're like, what the hell do we do the rest of the day? We should be spending time together. When it's like, no, I want to go do other things. So there's that. I will. I'll also fuck Halloween. You get a lot of things with Halloween, right? Especially there's a lot of opportunity if you're a single male or a single female, whatever you want to, or whatever you want to call yourself, right? We'll get to that later. There's a lot of things that you could do in Halloween that spice up your life a little bit, I guess you could say. And Thanksgiving to me, it's kind of mid. Like I don't really care for the traditional Thanksgiving food. It's good. I mean, it's fine or whatever, but it's not something special to me. Like, oh man, like why is it that there's just this massive turkey production for one day of the year? Like if people really like turkey, they would eat it like consistently like that throughout the year, right? Like you don't see anybody in March being like, yeah, I just did a big old turkey or whatever like that. And I got 2 weeks worth of food or whatever, or I made 10 pounds of mashed potatoes because this is the thing to eat, like I don't eat that stuff normally. So
That's fair. It's a lot of prep though. I've
yeah.
never done it, but I've seen my wife do it and it looks tedious.
It's terrible, man. You're just there. And then you get to the table and everybody knows it's just like okay food. Like you feel bad. Like fuck, man, I spent all day doing this shit because it's some tradition thing or whatever. So yeah, that's mine. What do you got for me?
Let's see. So the Walking Dead finale is finally happening. Apparently, I didn't even know this. I haven't watched the show in a few seasons. I don't think I've watched it since we left New Mexico.
What's the last episode you remember? What you remember happening?
Negan, they were going back and forth with Negan, the dude with the baseball bat with the barbed wire.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they were just like going back and forth, attacking each other. I have no idea how that ended. I like that both actors, the dude who played Rick and the dude who played, was it Jeffrey Dean Morgan or something like that? Jeffrey Morgan Dean. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name. Like, I
Yeah.
like the actors. I like Daryl. I think he's still in. He's like the only one. But
Yeah.
that's the last thing I remember. And I don't know how many seasons ago that was. That was a long time.
Yeah. I haven't watched it since I was in California, and I left California at beginning of 19. And I'm pretty sure I stopped watching it about a year or so before that. It was whenever Rick went away in the show. So, bridge blew up, and then that was it.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on like the show? Like, should it have ended a lot sooner? Was it terrible from the beginning?
I mean, how many times can you go and it's literally like, hey, we created a little colony. Oh my gosh, there's a new group of people that want to attack us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we survived, but someone died. All right, we got to create a new colony. Oh my God, there's a new bad dude. And then, oh my God, zombies. Like it turned into not being about zombies, actually, right? It freaked me out at first, the first time I watched it, because it was like the half body, and it was like, oh, the apocalypse. What's it like to survive the apocalypse? When it really turned into just what? The game Risk.
A sitcom with like some zombies sprinkled in. And that was my problem with the show. Like the few seasons I watched, like maybe there was, but I don't recall like a big plot. Like, was there one big thing? Like, were they working towards getting to a city that had the cure, or giant walls, or what was the plot? Because that's all I remember, was every season was just the new bad guy. We have to get from point A to point B, or protect our camp, or whatever. That's all I remember.
It was never like we're going to rebuild society, and gather all these people to work together. It's just like, oh no, like this is the free world essentially, right? And we're going to see how humans act, because they're going to steal what I got. Anyways, go on. Walking Dead.
That was it. I was just wondering what your thoughts were, because I saw the ad as I was I had the TV on, and the commercial came on for the finale while I was typing up some notes. So I was just curious. I didn't have any other questions though.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time, and I'm just not interested. I used to be really interested, and it just got too much, and I was like, okay, never mind, I'm done.
It stoked the flames for some memories from down in New Mexico. Do you remember like in the ops flight area?
Yeah.
It's like you just be sitting down. You couldn't see anybody. The cubicle walls were high, and you just hear like Beisner or No Wiki. They'd walk by and they just say, Daryl,
Carl.
That's all I could think.
That's all it is. Yeah. That's fun. Cool. Let's move on to NFL news and notes. So we'll do a quick standings recap of our league and where we sit, rather than go through all of our individual matchups. But hey, our league listens to the podcast, hopefully. Anyway, starting at 7-3 at the top of the leaderboard, you got the Pocket Dogs 2 out to handle, and Boner Jams 03 at 6-4. Yours truly started the season projected to finish 11th, now projected to finish 6th. But when you look at my team, you're like, where's their weak spot? It's crazy. I was looking at it today with Nick, and I was like, my team is built different. Like, I can withstand injury and anything else, right? And I just got studs. So they're not a bunch of boom guys or whatever like that. But you know what? I'm going to get my 15 to 20. We're going to put up 120-something points minus this week, because after Juju got like concussed, the whole team went to shit, because they're just like, damn, Juju's out, man. It really hurt us. Like, I mean, granted, my players are playing in different countries and different time zones at different times, but the Juju stuff really hurt our team. Escobar Brothers also at 6-4, 5-5. You got the Murder Boners. I shave my balls for this. And Milford Academy, 4-6. Password is Taco. This is his worst season of all time. It's crazy. He's just struggling bad.
You love to see it.
You do. 3-7. You got the IR Tree and 7 team. Like, ever since he started changing his team name, he's getting wins. It's crazy. His team's pretty stacked too. Tony Patriot, you're sitting there at 3-7, holding off Nick for the last place in the league. 2-8, 3 penis wine. That is Nick. He sucks. He continues to suck. He'll always suck. He'll never be good again. It is terrible. He should quit. Try to roll down Pikes Peak from the top.
Hey, give it. Hold on. Give it up to the auto drafters. They're both in playoff spots right now.
Fuck those guys, man.
Octavio Peterson, good job on your draft. You guys did great. Look at you.
Yeah, you guys are so smart. You did so well. You did so well this year. Like, you're how you projected players is bar none the best that we've ever seen the last couple of years. It's wild how you do it. So I'm glad to see that you guys are free thinkers, not group think folks. So anyways, NFL news and notes. Jeff Saturday, with no coaching experience or outside of high school, and a media proclaimed disgrace to NFL coaches by Bill Cowher, is the last undefeated coach in the NFL after the Colts beat the Raiders 25-20 on Sunday. They're 2 games behind the Titans for the division and a playoff berth with 7 games remaining. Tony, do you think they end up making the playoffs?
I don't think they do. They've got the Eagles. I know you're not very high. We were on the same page. We went into the season on the Eagles.
Yeah.
They've got the Steelers. That'll be a tough matchup. They've got Dallas. They've got Minnesota. They've got the Chargers. Hopefully they have some players back by then. That's later in the season. And they have the Giants still on their schedule. So
wait. Are you saying that the Giants are a tough out for them?
It's not like a game you could circle and say, oh yeah, Colts got that game.
And why is that? Because the New York Giants are them?
They're mid. They're mid.
They are not mid.
They're so mid.
No.
Oh my God.
They're better than the majority of the teams in the AFC and the majority of the teams in the NFC.
Sure. I look at a lot of efficiency stats. So DVOA is one of them. Football Outsiders, they are middle of the pack in both offense and defense. They're nothing special in the passing game. They have a good running game, Saquon Barkley, but that's it.
They don't get a
lot of sacks, not getting a lot of pressure. So it's just not the recipe for like a team that's going to do much. So
Daniel Jones is beating Tom Brady in the playoffs this year. Mark my words. It's on the tape. Whew. Oh, it's going to be great with like a crazy catch too. It's going to be awesome. New York Giants win last drive of the game.
So I think with that schedule remaining for them, it would be improbable, not impossible, just improbable. Using an Intel term there.
I think they might be able to sneak into a little wild card action, right? I mean, if it wasn't for Vape,
if they're in the NFC, they'd be a wild card team right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If it weren't for like Vrabel being so good at coaching, because he gets so much out of players that completely stink. Like his roster sucks ass and he just keeps winning games. It's crazy. Like he's got to be, he really should be a coach of the year type candidate. Like what he does with that team, right?
Agreed.
Unless Jeff Saturday just runs the table. Like he might just run the table. Like people gave him so much shit and they're like, what, this, and oh my gosh. And it's like a head coach, you don't really need them to be involved. You just need them to get people in the right places, right? And lead people. It's like, why does the head coach need to call plays? Or why does the head coach need to come up with a game plan? Nah, let me figure out what's wrong. Let me go sit there and talk to him. Yeah. I've done this. I've played in the league. I'm younger than the majority of these other coaches. So typically your players, they know who you played with. They watch those players. They saw you come up in the league. They respect you a lot more than whoever the fuck Frank Reich is. Like, I mean, the NFL, the audacity to hire a Reich. I mean, I thought we got over this shit in the 40s, Tony. Like it's bananas.
That's why this wasn't going to work out this season.
It wasn't going to work out. It went up in a burning ball of books.
Jesus.
God damn. Anyways, I think they could inch out one. Like the Eagles, you can run against them, right? Obviously, you could run against them without their best D tackle. I think Tyler Heineke today on Pat McAfee's show, not a sponsor, no free ads. He was saying that when they looked at the tape, the Eagles went from giving up 2.6 yards a carry to 6 yards a carry after dude went out. So they're like, yeah, we're just going to run the hell out of the ball. Like that's our game plan or whatever like that. So
yeah,
you can run on the Eagles. You got to play some defense, but the Eagles are like a team that they're that prep school who has to go play like a public school. And then they end up figuring out what it's like to have like real shit talk to them, right? And they thought they were the coolest, baddest kids on the block, and then they get punched in the mouth, and it's like, oh my gosh, or whatever like that. So there's that. And they could definitely beat the Giants, I think. I don't know who else was on that. Chargers. What?
Yeah. Cowboys, Steelers, Vikings.
Cowboys ain't that great, right? They lost to the Packers. They got a terrible coach. Vikings, they'll probably lose too, but you never know, man. You never know.
Improbable.
Don't do this like this guy could be a league winner. Bullshit. You make a fucking stand and then we put it on the tape, Tony.
Fine. They're not making the playoffs, Nate.
They're making the playoffs.
They're making the playoffs.
There we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're not here for this half-assed bullshit of He could be a breakout guy this year, or yeah, I'm gonna get to that
You know why
shit.
people do it? It's because you can't hold me accountable if I say, "Oh, it's improbable,"
Yeah,
but I will victory lap it when they don't.
yeah, it's fucking stupid. I told you guys, shut the fuck up. I told you guys that Kenneth Walker could be a league winner. Well, so did the rest of the fucking industry, you
I know.
dipshit.
I think I know
Taking
what
my
tweet.
victory lap.
I know what tweet you're talking about. He tweeted that in
Yeah,
like week 3 or 4 too. He's like, okay,
yeah.
thanks.
After he got the job due to injury. Shut the fuck up. You're a douchebag. Oh, I went from 1,700 followers to 17,000 in 2 years. So grateful. Like all your takes are everybody else's takes. Fuck. That's my rant and rave today, Tony.
We got it
Damn
early.
it.
Nice. We
You
got to add
got
you
it out of
before.
me. I'm gonna go in, right? Okay. Anyways, let's move on. Overrated, underrated. So we're gonna bring this into NFL news and notes every single week. So every single week in the fantasy landscape, you have players who pop off the charts, right? This week it was Christian Watson, 4 catches, 3 touchdowns, 70, 80 yards, whatever, and people are hyped about dude or whatever like that, right? So every single week you have this, and there's all this talk about, oh, he is him, right? It's all the same fucking words. And if you want to follow us at Taco Court Pod on Twitter, you'll catch us saying he is him and just sharing all the videos of where they're not him because they stink. So we're going to go over a few players here. We'll do it every single week. Pretty rapid fire, right? If you want to add some context, that's cool too. I don't mind it. But we're going to go overrated, underrated. Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. So week 7 through 10, he is the QB1 by just under 40 fantasy points. It's insane. Mm-hmm. He's averaging 33.4 points per game. Their defense, the Bears defense, is 23rd in defensive efficiency since week 6. I think they traded Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith around that time. Mm-hmm. So they stink. I think they'll always put up points, at least for the rest of this season. So I'm going to say he's just rated. Is that an option? Can I say rated?
Properly rated?
I think he's properly rated, yeah.
So he's properly rated as like the god of the NFL right now. The best quarterback in the league.
I'm not going to say underrated because there's a lot to be desired
Super
with the passing
bright
game.
Future.
I think it's a bright future. Get him a true number 1 wide receiver because they got that bum out of Notre Dame there right now.
That bum who is helping him run for 60 yards because he is one of the greatest blocking wide receivers of all time. That's why they got that dude. He can catch the ball. He can go deep. He's got a body. But the main thing is that they know they got to run the ball, and he's a great run blocker. They can't run block with fucking Darnell Mooney. Yeah, that guy can – he's so fucking small, and he stinks too. Whatever.
I just want to take a shot at Notre Dame at the end there. But, yeah. I think he's properly rated.
Properly rated? No, that's wrong. Anyways, overrated, underrated, Russell Wilson.
I think he's overrated, but I think it's because of Nathaniel Hackett. And I know you know this stat. I saw you tweet it, or I think you sent a text in one of our group chats about it. Mm-hmm. But the Broncos would be 8-1 if they scored 18 plus points in regulation this season. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. They are first in defensive points allowed. So they've allowed the fewest amount of points, but they're last in points scored on the, that's crazy that you're at both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a waste of that defense, honestly, but I think he's overrated this season.
Who gets more credit, Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson for all the Seahawks success?
I don't think the Seahawks are going to have any success, so I'm going to say it's going to end up being Russell Wilson.
You don't think the Seahawks?
You've watched those games, right? Like the last couple years, like they're trying to run the ball. They're establishing the run to their own detriment. Like they'd be down by 2 scores. Who got them back in the game? Not the running backs. It was Russell Wilson constantly. It was kind of a roller coaster to have him like on a fantasy team, right? But I think on Denver, he's overrated. Hopefully when they get a new head coach in there next year, we'll get back. That pendulum will come back the other way and he'll regress to the mean. But to answer your question, I think Russell Wilson over Pete Carroll.
There might have been somebody on this podcast before the season started who talked about Russell Wilson and how nobody wanted him on their fantasy team. Over the last 3 to 4 years, and how the Broncos were going to stink because they got Russell Wilson. This guy earns $250 million. And there's funny. I wish I had this guy's name. Maybe I'll post something about it after, but there's this dude on TikTok every single week after the Broncos play. He does a thing where he's been counting, like making these TikToks every single week until Russell Wilson throws as many touchdown passes as he has bathrooms in his house. He's currently at 7 touchdown passes, and he has 12 bathrooms in his house. Therefore, Russell Wilson, there's 5, and he just goes over the data about him trying to get to as many bathrooms as he has in his house.
That's another thing that's overrated. That house that he bought in Denver, wherever the hell it's at, how are you going to have like 4 bedrooms and 15 bathrooms or whatever the hell it is? That makes zero sense.
Dude, what if you got to take a shit? Do you want to walk around and try to find a bathroom?
No, the bedroom to bathroom ratio is off. It's completely off, and it needs to be fixed.
How many bathrooms do you need to have per bedroom?
I think there needs to be at least one. A 1-to-1 ratio. Maybe you have a 2 bedrooms upstairs that share a bathroom, right? Like our kids share a bathroom, and then downstairs you have like a bathroom for just anybody walking in and out of the house, right? But yeah, there's way too many bathrooms. Who cleans all those?
Not him.
I mean, I don't. That's another thing. I know Charlotte does, and it seems like it's tedious.
He's got $250 million to suck. He can get somebody to clean his bathrooms.
I did see that TikTok. Matt sent it to me. It's pretty funny.
It's so fucking good, man, and it's so calm. So it's like it just drags you in, like, oh, let's do this, right? And it's almost depressing, but it's pretty comical the way he does it. It's so good. So yeah, Russell Wilson. All right, overrated, underrated. Josh Allen, coming off a loss to Minnesota, coming off a loss to the New York Jets. 2 in a row, fourth quarter turnovers. Seems to not be able to win a big game.
Yeah, I think he's rated as well. Despite his struggles over the past 5 weeks with turnovers, he's still averaging 27 points per game. He's the QB1 on the year. So I'm not going to say he's overrated. The turnovers used to be a problem, big problem for him. So hopefully he kind of fixes that. I think that's been their issue the last few weeks. But I think he's properly rated right now.
I don't know. Overrated, underrated. Kirk Cousins.
Overrated. Next question.
Overrated, underrated.
No, hold on. I have some for that. So he's thrown 8 picks. He has 9 total turnovers. And I feel like that's just going to catch up with the Vikings at some point. They've just been kind of lucky, I think, up to this point. I also don't need to see him 2-stepping with his goddamn shirt off ever again. So getting real tired of him, and I think Adam Schefter did that too, like on a pre-game or pre-Sunday show. It's ridiculous. Is that something you thought you'd see, Adam Schefter's nipples, like at any point ever?
No, I wasn't even watching the game, I don't think, that night, or I wasn't watching the pregame stuff. And I ended up seeing the stuff on Twitter, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, nah, Adam Schefter just got a boost. Like, I might create another account just so I can follow him in case I get blocked on my other ones. So
he's in good shape. He's like 50 years old or something. He's keeping it tight, though.
Check the bio at Nader8530 on Twitter. You can see the date in which I was blocked from Adam Schefter for telling him to eat a dick.
True story.
Because he said shit about Duke basketball. So, overrated, underrated. The New York Football Giants.
You got a preview of my feelings earlier. I think they're overrated. Mentioned some of the efficiency stats. They're 19th actually on offense. So 30th in passing yards, 28th in sacks allowed. So lots of pressure that line gives up. 19th in defensive efficiency. They only have 2 picks on the year. So I feel like it's just a meh team. And they've played the Panthers, they played the Bears, the Jaguars, the Texans. They played the Packers with Green Bay in full no wide receiver crisis mode. They have Philly twice coming up, the Cowboys and the Vikings in the second half. So I think we'll see, but I have a feeling that they're just kind of going to be another one of those mid teams.
It's almost like they have the similar schedule to the Philadelphia Eagles, but for some reason people think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. Tony, I've battled in my past with depression, anxiety, a bunch of bad stuff. I was down bad. I quit my job with hardly any cash as an adult who has 2 children that he takes care of. Moved across the country without a job, figured out I got a job on my way to where I live currently. You could say there's a lot of things that are just kind of mediocre about my life. Haven't been, super successful. Haven't been like just killing it all the time. You just kind of get by and go. Sometimes I miss weeks for podcast episodes. Sometimes I miss a whole winter or spring or, part of a summer. Would you say that, that because of that, I am underrated as well? Would I be underrated? Would I be considered mid, or am I overrated? just like the New York Giants. What would you say?
Do you want me to answer this?
No. Let's
Truthfully,
move on.
truthfully and honestly,
Let's move on.
I will.
Go ahead, answer it.
Absolutely. I think I think you've had a soft schedule. I think if this schedule would have been any more difficult, you'd be living in a ditch
Yeah.
or a van down by the river, Nate.
You fucked hot bitches on your way to where you're at right now. This is bullshit. That's cap. I don't fuck bitches or hot ones. Yeah. Anyways, overrated, underrated. Everybody's fantasy darling this week. Christian Watson, 4 catches, 80 something yards. I think it was 3 touchdowns, 40% target share this week. As the Green Bay Packers beat the Dallas Cowboys. Overrated, underrated on Christian Watson.
Aaron Rodgers just needs a guy. He's had like no one that's flashed or stayed on the field long enough to give him like any consistency at the receiver position. Week 10, this is why he's being, it's why he's in the spotlight this week. Watson had 91% of the routes run. You mentioned 40% target shares, 42% target share. He had 8 targets, 4 catches for 107 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think he could have had a 4th as well. So the problem I have with him, he's got a receiver grade in the 60s. That's per PFF. And if you've watched the game, there's been a lot of inconsistency with him, with drops and running the wrong routes. And he did both of those things in week 10. It was just one game. So I think for fantasy, it might be worth a flyer to go pick him up. I think he's being overrated, though, kind of taking all of that stuff in, right? You should look at the whole picture and not just kind of get tunnel vision on one week. I wouldn't empty my wallet, but he could be a second half breakout candidate. But again, I think he's being overrated.
Here's the thing, right? This guy got the stat that keeps getting thrown out there by these, fantasy analysts is 40% target share, right? But the thing is, this was the least amount of passes the Packers have thrown all year in 20 passes.
Yeah.
So the guy got 8 of them. He just happened to have the matchup that day, and it was 20 passes, and 3 of them turned into touchdowns on 4 catches. That is outrageous efficiency. It's dumb. It's 1 week of this, dude. And the fact that people are sitting, this is my gripe too, right? And this is what I hate about stuff, right? Is like every week you get these fucking threads of, 5 players you need to add off the waiver wire this year. Why are if you're playing in a league where there's guys like Isaiah Pacheco, right? Jalen Warren, Kadarius Toney, Christian Watson, all these players should not be on waivers. And they're like, available in 55% of leagues. I don't know what software they're looking at or what platform they're looking at, right? Maybe they find the one that has the least amount of ownership and that's what they post or whatever like that. Like it's some crazy site that's not even used or that they created and there's like 7 users on it, right? It's fucking stupid. But the fact that if you're in a league where those guys are on waivers, you ought to be in first place, booming past everybody. And you don't need these players on your team because the rest of your league doesn't have them, which means they suck ass at fantasy football. If they are on waivers, you need to expand your rosters because these guys deserve to not be on waivers. You're talking about the backup running back to Najee Harris, who at any moment in time, everybody was like, Najee Harris is going to get all the volume. He gets hurt. Everybody's spending all their fab on it. If everybody's going to spend all of their fab and empty the bank on a player or a running back when they get their shot, they don't need to be on the waiver wire.
I agree.
Christian Watson's been on the waiver wire because he's not the dude. He's not the dude in Green Bay. He's like the 3rd option. He had 1 game, and that's it. He might be the 4th option, to be honest.
Was Dobbs out this game? I think Dobbs
was out,
right? Yeah.
Dobbs is out, right? But you got Lazard, who's trustworthy for Aaron Rodgers. He gets targets. There's games where he's got 9 targets, right? But it's only 23% of the target share because they threw it 40 fucking times. Like, what do you expect? Like that percentage number is so fake, and it pissed me off this week. Anyways, overrated, underrated. He is overrated for me as well. So
there you go.
All right, so we're going to go down the list because everybody's darling right now, and apparently Tony's darling right now in fantasy football. And the NFL in general is Justin Fields. He runs the ball really well. He runs for a lot of yards. He passes for 160 a week. Sure, he scored some touchdowns or whatever like that, but he's on the Bears, and he's Justin Fields who can't get past one read. And as we saw, right, You can check out the Taco Corp Twitter and you can timestamp it and everything. And it's like in the third quarter, there's somebody running this account, the admin team is sitting there saying, hey, I don't understand why people just don't double spy this dude so he can't run. You put two safeties on the outside or two outside linebackers and just have them spy so they sandwich the dude, and that's it. And you don't allow them to run, get him past the first read, you're going to get a sack. What happened on the final two possessions?
They didn't let him
Boom,
run.
they just spied shit, didn't let him run. He can't throw the ball, pick six. From his old college teammate, pick sixed it. And then the next drive, it's like sack, suck. And that's all it is. It's all it is with Justin Fields. And this is a consistent thing with Ohio State quarterbacks. And it's terrible, but it's fun to talk about. So we're going to go over, and I'm going to have you do a would you rather, Tony, Justin Fields versus the field. So we're going to go over every NFL quarterback and see how many of them that you would have as your NFL quarterback. This is not fantasy related. This is your NFL quarterback, because when we're watching stuff, people are talking about how this dude's the next upcoming thing in the NFL. And who would you rather have on your team as quarterback? So number one, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Kirk Cousins. And I'm going down this by like record in the NFL too.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, who would you rather have?
I'm taking, well, hold on. For fantasy or NFL? I missed the first
NFL. Part. NFL. Kirk Cousins right now. Or Justin Fields.
Kirk Cousins.
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes, easy.
Danny Dimes.
Justin Fields.
Ooh.
We've seen what, 4 years now of Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Tua. Tannehill.
I love Tannehill.
Lamar Jackson. The playoff bound New York Jets quarterback Zach Wilson.
Oh my God, Justin Fields. Get Wilson out of here.
Josh Allen. Dak Prescott. Geno Smith.
Seahawks Geno or Jets Geno?
Right now, Geno Smith. Right now in the NFL, who would you're in the prime position because you're a Rams fan. And say the Rams had an offensive line and these guys stink, right? But who would you want as your quarterback right now in this league?
He's playing really well. I think the difference is he has DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That's tough. I think
he still has to make the throws and the reads.
I know. I think I'm going with the potential, and I'm building around Fields. I'm giving him a number one wide receiver. Again, we've seen Geno. This is just, 9 games, 10 games? It's just such a small sample size of what we've already seen from Geno. So I'm taking Fields on this one.
What's different between Geno for the rest of his career or prior than what Justin Fields has not been able to do?
I think it's just, you've seen this narrative, like quarterbacks getting like an elite receiver. It's like what it did for Josh Allen when he got Stephon Diggs, what it did for Jalen Hurts once he got AJ Brown with Ryan Tannehill, like just how it elevated those guys. And I just feel like with Fields, you'd be in a better spot.
Okay. Mac Jones.
Fields. Jones stinks.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Justin Fields. Absolutely.
You're fucking high. You're going to take Justin Fields over Jimmy Garoppolo to take you to the Super Bowl this year.
Take you to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl? Those are two very distinct things.
Take you. Win ball games. You're going to pick Geno Smith or fucking Justin Fields over Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback.
Yep.
You are
right now.
Crazy. So the Niners are a better team with Justin Fields at quarterback than they are with Jimmy Garoppolo.
How many?
They have a better chance to win a Super Bowl.
How many?
It doesn't matter. The talent of Jimmy Garoppolo versus Justin Fields, when the Niners are contending for a Super Bowl this year, potentially, you want Justin Fields as the quarterback to lead them. They have a better shot than Jimmy Garoppolo.
So you got to answer this question because this is the context the listeners need.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm sweating.
3? I think it was 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance because even Lynch and Kyle Shanahan know Jimmy G is capped. He's capped.
So you're taking Justin Fields?
Yes.
I lost count of where I was at. I don't know. All right. Justin Herbert. Joe Burrow. Tom Brady.
At the ripe age of 46 or whatever he is.
Mm-hmm.
I think short term, I take Tom Brady. Christ.
Jesus. Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Taylor Heineke.
Oh, Justin Fields, get out of here.
Oh my God. Taylor Heineke.
Heineke
You're wrong.
sucks.
Matt Ryan. Heineke just beat the fucking Philadelphia Eagles and is buying Jordans of the Philadelphia Eagles colors because that's what he does every week. Yeah, he wins. He buys Jays.
He's a
Get
man of the
fuck
people, I
out of here.
guess, but I'm still taking Fields.
Matt Ryan.
Fields.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Mariota.
Justin Fields. Come on.
Justin Fields.
Ritter should be start. I'll take Ritter over Mariota.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler.
All right. Jacoby Brissett.
Oh my God. You have all you went through all of the quarterbacks. Didn't
All
you?
of them. I'm going through all of
Justin
them right
Fields.
now. Justin Fields.
Fields.
Russell Wilson.
Put me in a tough spot here. I'll take Russ.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Jared Goff. Yes. I'm just going to mark it on the better than.
Nope. Fields.
Oh my God, you're terrible.
Goff is the same as Jimmy Garoppolo. They're the same quarterback.
No, they're not. Anyways, Jared Goff is way better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Matt Stafford.
Stafford.
Kenny Pickett.
Justin Fields.
Oh, you're high. Baker Mayfield.
His hands are twice as big as Pickett's.
Doesn't matter.
Baker stinks. I'm taking Justin Fields.
Trevor Lawrence.
I
Same
like
draft
Lawrence.
class.
Lawrence.
Andy Dalton.
Fields.
Andy Dalton's got more wins with the Bears this year than Fields would. Derek
Oh
Carr.
my God. Fields.
Oh my God, you're terrible. You need to go back to the drawing board. Davis Mills.
I don't think so. So
Davis
Mills has
Mills.
a long neck, but I'm taking Fields.
There you go. All right. And then Colin Kaepernick.
Again, a dude who can get you to the Super Bowl, but he's not going to win it. Same quarterback as Jimmy G. I'm taking Justin Fields.
Ooh.
You're so offended right now, aren't you?
Yeah. Tim Tebow.
I put Goff and I put Kaepernick in the same bucket as Jimmy G.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm taking Justin Fields. Get out of here.
Tim Tebow over Tim Tebow?
Yes. Wait, baseball
No.
or football? Which sport are we talking?
It doesn't matter. Tim Tebow
Fields
could
in
do it
both.
all.
Fields probably played baseball too, didn't he?
Christianity.
That's the only thing.
Book writing.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
helping people out. So you have 16 quarterbacks above Justin Fields, and that's it. So you say he's like the 17th quarterback in the NFL.
You're talking
think that's
NFL.
high.
You're talking NFL. Fantasy, he's like top 5 just because of that rushing floor. It's ridiculous.
It's terrible. It doesn't last though. Like if I had Justin Fields in Dynasty, right? Like I'd probably ride through it with the year, and then next year, like right in the offseason, I'm looking to trade Justin Fields, and I'm going to get picks, and I'm going to get people who could actually throw the ball, because the position of quarterback in the NFL is to throw the forward pass, not run the ball. There's a reason why Lamar Jackson does not run like he used to. Right? It is unsustainable. You're not going to win ball games. You need to be able to pass the ball.
Yeah,
And
I mean, look at Cam.
Not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, look at Cam Newton. Dude's like what, in his early 30s, and Matt Ryan's out there still playing in his late 30s. So
Matt Ryan, dual threat.
Longest run of his career. I think he just doubled his total yardage, rushing yardage.
I had so much fun this Sunday, like because everybody's high on Justin Fields. So I was just like every other quarterback that was making a good run, I was just like, oh, dual threat. Matt Ryan, dual threat. Tom Brady, dual threat. Tom Brady, triple threat. It's so good. How'd you feel about my my tweets last night? Do you understand what I was doing? Pre-game. All right, look, we used to talk about putting shit on tape, right? Pre-game last night, Monday Night Football, the formerly known as the Redskins, formerly known as the football team, currently known as the Commanders, futurely known as something else, hopefully. Maybe back to the football team. I think they should just blow it up and come up with something different, right? And just new ownership, whatever. We're not doing this Commander thing. But anyways, before the game started, you'll check the timestamps. They're out there, right? I just said, you know what? I'm going to dive into this whole Redskin thing. So I'm just going to post a GIF on my Twitter, our admins. I directed the admins to post GIFs at night for who we were rooting for and who we believe was going to win the game, who we might have put a couple $100 on the money line to win at the ripe price of like plus 3 something, I believe it was, plus almost plus 400.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was up there, right? We dumped a couple hundo on it because we knew, right? Anyways, but yeah, just you just search GIF Native American dancer powwow Indian chief, Apache tribe or whatever like that, and that was the GIFs going on every time that the Commanders scored last night, and then we posted a ripe little photo of the Indian shooting the star from the Tootsie Pop, but it was with the Eagles logo coming down on it. It was pretty good. I mean, we're doing all right. We don't get a lot of engagement, but you know what? It's good. It's good, and when people see it and they get to it, they're gonna get hooked because they're like, "Hey, these guys here at the Taco Court podcast got something going on. They're pretty smart."
You were
On
busy.
your
You were busy, and there was a lot of tweets. I was having a
yeah,
hard time keeping up.
and well, you don't got notifications automatically set for whenever I post. You don't have that.
Dude, but I go to notifications, there's like 15 new tweets. Plus,
It
there's like
just
Terrence liking them, and there's other comments on them.
yeah,
There's a
that
lot
is
to sort through.
it's when people like them. That's where it gets busy. I have yours set up to send push notifications to me, so I just like hit the thing. So every time you tweet, I end up seeing it from your guys' podcast
Oh
account.
God, you see all the bad takes then.
I see all of it, dude. And it's just receipts, screenshots, and screenshots and screenshots. All right. So your podcast, Tony, the 58 West King podcast that you guys do every week, you and Matt in this league, Boner Jams 03, the talent of the 58 West King podcast. You guys pick winners for each NFL game of the week. Just straight up, who's going to win the ball game, right? It's one of the best things I like about your podcast. And I learned, speaking about David Richter and who you had on last week's episode, I learned that I'm a big fan of this David guy, right? Like, hey, he's a Max Verstappen fan, not a big fan of that, although I am growing on Max Verstappen after this last race when he said, nah, fuck that. He ain't getting by. I was like, all right, that dude's a gangster. I kind of like him.
That
I'm
was a
kind of
Ricky
growing.
Bobby. That was a Ricky Bobby move.
You know
Dick
what?
move.
You need points. Race faster. Do better.
You know
Stop
why?
crashing the fucking
Why
car.
he said no, right?
Yeah, because of Monaco. Because he purposely crashed and it fucked up Max's shit. And he ended up like losing a race, and they could have done a lot better that day. But yeah, whatever. I don't care. Like, race better. I'm the best. I'm the best there is. I'm the best there was. I'm the best there ever will be. But anyways, outside of that, that dude was like, hey, you got the Niners against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I got it lambasted about that. That's a word, right? That we're coining that word, lambasted. I got lambasted for that take. But all of a sudden, David's on the podcast, and I could see that happen. Shut the fuck up. And it was just nuts. Everything this dude said was on point with me. Oh, the Jets play up. The Jets are playing phenomenal. All this kind of stuff. Oh man, I loved it. So outside of the back end where you post the clips that nobody hears from the episode, and it's like, hey, don't lump me in the group with Nate. You lumped yourself in the group with Nate. And then he also said that Die Hard's not a Christmas movie. So I am a fan. Bright guy. He has a good future ahead of him. Anyways, we like gambling. You guys pick winners. Heads up. Every single week, every single team, every single matchup. So I think, because we like to gamble, we're degenerates. I think we should do, going forward, we'll just do our top 3 favorite bets against the spread going into this next week. So week 11 NFL, top 3 bets that we see out there spread wise that we like. I'll let you start with your first one, Tony.
I wrote down 3 here. I got, I don't know. These aren't in any order. The first one I like, though, these guys got a lot of momentum. They just beat an undefeated squad in prime time. They're going to Houston to play the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have the number 1 draft pick next year. The line was currently at 3 for the Commanders. I think they cover that.
Yeah. I see 3.5
okay
on FanDuel right now. So I'm just using FanDuel Sportsbook, but that's currently live right now. So yeah, I'll give you the 3. I don't know. We'll get 3.5, same shit, right?
I would take 3.5 too. Yeah.
You'll take 3.5. So 3.5 with the Commanders. So my number 1, and when you look at mine, you're going to be like, what the fuck, Nate? But my number 1. So my first one that I like the best, right? And I posted this in our group text for betting, whatever, the other day. But currently it's at Vikings 1.5 point dogs against the Cowboys at home. The Minnesota Vikings against the Dallas Cowboys, 1.5 point dogs. I think that this line should be 3 to 4 to the Vikings on the other side, and that's 5.5 points off. Yeah, I'm betting that. So I got Minnesota plus 1.5.
That was my second one, taking
Yep.
Minnesota over Dallas. And
Ditto.
I had some context for the last one. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know you were gonna. I thought you were gonna speak to it a little bit. Do you want me to
Yep.
toss it in, or are you good?
Nope. Go ahead. Toss it in.
Yeah, Houston, worst run defense in the NFL. You've seen what Saquon's done to them. You've seen
Mm-hmm.
what Derrick Henry's done to them. Washington just wants to run the ball. They'll run the ball 50 times, pass the ball 10 times. So they're going to run all over the Texans. I think
50 Cent.
I think that 3.5 is a lock.
Yep. That's cool. Yeah, I just don't see how Minnesota doesn't beat the Cowboys for one, let alone beat them, but they're going to beat them by over a field goal, I believe. So, like, the Cowboys are not a great football team. They're not a good football team.
The side we're on, they just have to win. So
yeah,
I have them winning this one
by a lot. At home, you're talking about at home. They just went to Buffalo. They beat the Bills, right? Super Bowl favorite. They beat the Bills. They're coming home. SKOL, Skull. I think that's how they spell it, like the dip.
Yeah.
That place is going to be rocking. And you got the Cowboys, America's team, but America's not mid. America is the greatest nation on the planet Earth, as we just recognized our veterans over last week. So,
yeah,
it's going to be wild. They're not even going to be able to hear anything.
I underestimated them, but I think going forward, I'm going to estimate them. Justin Jefferson's unstoppable. And if a team's willing to put a safety on him and commit the resources and the attention that you need to shut Justin Jefferson down, like Adam Thielen can get it done. KJ Osborne can get it done. Cook can get it done. Madison's okay. They just brought in TJ Hawkinson. Like, they look like a really solid football team.
Their offensive line is playing really well, and their run game is good. They keep breaking off big ones, which is really hurting my prediction at the beginning of the year that the Vikings won't combine for an RB1 spot, right? Like top 12 running back with all of their running backs combined.
I remember
it's not going well, but
I remember you had an issue with one of Dalvin Cook's shoulders, and I reminded you.
It happened.
Not only does he have one shoulder, Nate, he has two shoulders.
It happened too.
He got banged up. He just wears the brace. He's good.
We got more weeks for him to get hurt. Maybe Micah Parsons does it this week, or Van Der Esch or something like that. So
maybe.
My number 2. Stay with me here, Tony.
All right.
The New York Jets plus 3.5 at Foxborough. The New England Patriots cannot move the ball with Mac Jones. And I don't think that they're at this point. You give the Jets a week off, and the Patriots had a bye too, I believe, right? This last week in week 10, they had a bye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So they're both coming off bye. Yeah, you probably don't want to play Belichick after a bye. You're on the road, it's cold out or whatever like that. But there's something about this Jets team that I'm going to lay the 3.5 with the Jets.
I don't know if I like that. I don't think I can get behind that one.
Mm-hmm.
New England's okay against the run, and that's, I think, the only thing that New York has going for them. And it's on the road. Bill Belichick has a history with young quarterbacks. Not like a sexual thing. I'm just talking about like scheming against them.
The Jets got embarrassed at home against the Patriots, and I think that sits on the mind. And I think that the Jets have that kind of grit in them in order to go out there and cover 3.5. What's your last one?
My last one is Tennessee. I think they will. They're plus 3. I think I would take them to cover that.
Plus 3. Who are they playing?
Green Bay.
Oh, Thursday night. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could see that happening. I don't think Green Bay is like a world beater, and Tennessee's might win the game.
Yeah.
Like,
look what they just
Packers are favorite.
Missing some key secondary pieces. I think Landry was out. Bud Dupree was out. Treylon Burks, this was his first game back. It wasn't even him who was featured. Woods wasn't featured. It was their third receiver, Westbrook Akine or whatever his name is. Like,
yeah,
I agree with you. Vrabel should be the coach of the year. Like, they're probably going to win this division. Dude gets it done no matter who's on the field. I really. They
were the number 1 seed last year with a terrible team. With a
Derrick
terrible
Henry
team.
Missed most of the year.
Yeah,
it was Foreman.
Yeah,
I'm taking Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that happening. Let's go with so my third one. Fuck me. I'm doing this, right? The Denver Broncos minus 2.5 at home against Las Vegas Raiders. Denver, I believe it's an afternoon game, right? It's freezing cold out here in
2 o'clock.
Colorado. I
Yep.
mean, it's going to be like 30 degrees. The sun's going to be out,
Oh,
which is going to be kind of miserable with freezing cold in this area. And then it's going to just drop down to like 15 degrees at night. It's going to be terrible. So give me the Broncos 2.5. They got to be able to score points at some point. And what better team to score points against than the Las Vegas Raiders? If they don't score points, their defense should hold them in there, and they should be able to win by a field goal.
yeah. I don't know what we have right now. Are we calling it the polar vortex still? Is that a thing?
It's fucking stupid, dude.
Like we are all up in the vortex right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I did want to bet, so we got a 3 here. You got Washington 3.5. You got the Minnesota Vikings plus 1.5, and
Yep.
Titans plus 3. I got Minnesota plus 1.5, the Jets plus 3.5, and the Broncos minus 2.5. One I want to bet, and it's really just because Big Cat pointed this out, right? And I think it's on what's his podcast on Barstool. I forget what it's called, but
Pardon
uh,
my take.
yeah, part of my take, right, is that note after playing the Carolina Panthers, the teams that play the Carolina Panthers are 0-8 after playing the Carolina Panthers, have not won a game. The Niners went to Atlanta, got smoked. Like every team has lost after playing the Panthers, and the Bengals played the Panthers and went on bye. The thing is, and they're going to Pittsburgh, right? Kenny Pickett's balling, George Pickens balling, Najee's getting a little bit of room. Jalen Warren's getting a little bit of room. The team's buzzing. It's getting cold. They're going to be, oh, mama, I've been here. Right? Like they're going to be singing Renegade by Styx super loud, waving terrible towels everywhere. TJ Watt is back. TJ Watt adds more to that team. Like he's got like a Tua Tagovailoa in the last 14 games type record. It's crazy. Like him being on the field, they win ball games. Completely different team. The defense is so much better. They're plus 4.5 right now, and I want to take it. I bet it, but I also bet the Pittsburgh money line just because if it's true, then I want to get in on that and just say that I did it and I could stick it in Nick's face and that I won money and his team sucks. So
that's bold. That's a bold one.
But if it's true, all things are true until they're not true, I guess. But anyways, let's move on. We're running long here, Tony. We do drafts because we like fantasy football. This is about the people in our fantasy football league, and Thanksgiving's coming up, so everybody's got to get prepared for Thanksgiving, right? Look, there's tons of people who are going to tell you what kind of sides are the best sides for Thanksgiving, what are the best meats for Thanksgiving, how to make the best drinks for Thanksgiving, all the football snacks for Thanksgiving, best time to take a nap during Thanksgiving, best games to bet on Thanksgiving, but no one's telling you the top 5 Thanksgiving talking topics. Everybody gets around the table. They're hanging out with friends and family, specifically family. They're all in a tight space. You got to have conversation. You need to know what to talk about. Tony, I assume that you're going to want the turn, so I'm going to take one of one overall of top 5 Thanksgiving topics to talk about. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Number 1, Trump. I win. Trump, my number 1 pick overall.
Does this count for like all politics? I feel like we could just go down. Like I could say Nancy Pelosi. You could say Mitch McConnell.
You can do that. Look, I didn't want to be a buster and just say politics. That's kind of weak. We need things to say. We got to get 10 of these things out, man.
It's like all encompassing, but yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yep. You got 2 picks.
We'll keep it right there with things you probably shouldn't talk about.
You lost. These are all the things you should talk about.
I'm comfortable talking. I can talk about them without throwing food at my family members. Some of my family probably can't, but yeah, that's another discussion. I'll take religion. That's a very sensitive topic. It's one I'd probably hurt a lot of people's feelings on. My second pick. Trying to think about what you would pick next to see if this thing would still be around. I'm going to pick insert any skin color. Lives matter.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, you trigger anybody, I think, if you started talking about that.
Yeah. You got to do it on the like red, blue, green scale, right? Like a red 47, blue 38, and a green 16 skin color. Lives matter. Like that would be
Pantone 294 lives matter.
So good. All right, my number 2. I am going to say thing that you should talk about is your actual gender.
Hmm. Gender's a good
That'll
one.
definitely be good for the crowd, especially if you are, in a red
It,
family.
yeah, and you're wavering. I could see
Hmm.
that. That would spark something.
Yep, yep. The third one is you should talk about your diet that you're on during
God,
Thanksgiving. And then you got two coming up.
that's good. Just talk about someone's diet as they're shoveling turkey and stuffing and their
How
third piece of pumpkin pie.
you know how I got my abs?
Oh
As you're
God,
talking to a guy in a big dog shirt with the bottom of his stomach hanging out, you can see the bottom half of his belly button with just hair pouring out of it, right? And you're just talking about how you got washboard abs.
that's why I'm afraid to go to Thanksgiving at Trey's house. Like halfway through dinner, like he's like, "You guys want to go check out the gym?" And he just takes off his shirt, and his abs are miraculously oiled up. Come on, Trey.
Yeah. I only eat the meats because I got to keep these abs, and he just lifts
Yeah.
his shirt up and he talks about his like 12 abs that he has.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's good. It's my third pick. I'll go gun control.
Oh,
That's a
that's
super
so
sensitive
good.
topic.
Good one.
Anti-pro. It doesn't even matter. Like
Yep.
I feel like that one would trigger both sides immediately.
Mhm.
Pick number 4.
I
was gonna
fucked your
save this.
entire thing up, huh?
You did a little bit. I was gonna save this one for last, but I don't know what you're gonna take. So, we gotta frame this. Mom and Dad are gonna die soon. Who's gonna get the house? So maybe Will, like bringing up the
Uh,
will. I've seen
yeah.
families, mine included, just torn apart for stuff like this, and I don't understand why. But I feel like that's a super sensitive thing. Like once you get to a certain point, it's like people are just very divisive and they're triggered very easily over it.
So that's the thing that we got to think about as parents, right? And like when I was getting out of my financial whole thing, I started thinking about this, and the guy I listened to, and I kind of follow financial advice from, just from a lifestyle perspective, I guess you would say. Um, uh, he does a meeting every single year around the holidays to discuss with his family his will and his
Wow.
wishes, right? So it's like he said the first one, awkward. Hey, I need to talk to you guys about what to do and what I want and what is going to be done when I die, right? Awkward. But now it's just like a thing of it's normal business, right? Hey, let's go over it. Anything change? This. We're all on board. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. You're going to get over it eventually because I'm going to do it every single year with you, right? Or as things grow in whatever the estate is and stuff like that. But our parents, right? And we're, right mid 30s. We're about a third of the way through life. I mean, maybe a quarter of the way through life once we get there, type of thing. Because we're living past 100, Tony, especially with Neuralink, and is like we got to be prepared to do that stuff once your kids get old enough to be able to comprehend it. Right? Maybe the end of high school. Just start it. Hey, I want to go over this thing. It's important to me. This is what we got, and this is this, and then so they understand it. Whatever it is, right?
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea.
I'm doing it.
Because let's say like you do well and your will is, it's got a lot in it. Properties, money, stocks, bonds, stuff like that, gold. You start telling your kids about that, they're in like a tight spot. They start bringing meals over to your house.
That's because you got brown kids, dude. Your kids are brown.
Evan, why are you so interested in my life insurance policy all of a sudden?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. All right. I got my last two here. You should talk about the pride flag being on the U.S. men's national team jersey for the World Cup this year. That's definitely a good topic of discussion for Thanksgiving dinner. And then, damn it, I fucked up. I shouldn't have picked that one. Damn it, I can't go back either because I've already picked. That's the rules. Damn it. You should talk about your stepmother's recipes and how she makes Thanksgiving dinner because you went there last year. Yeah.
Awkward.
Yep.
Super awkward.
It's definitely a good topic. You got one more pick left.
One didn't get touched. Which makes sense because I think a lot of the southern states also didn't touch this. Vaccines. So everyone's a vaccine epidemiologist all of a sudden. All of a sudden, they're experts.
I fucked up. That would have been the nail in the coffin. I didn't even think about vaccines. Oh my gosh.
W. That's a win.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. What do you got?
Wrap it up. I got top 5 things to talk about Thanksgiving. I got Trump, your actual gender, your diet, the pride flag on the U.S. men's national team soccer jerseys for the World Cup, and your stepmother's recipes. You got religion, any skin color, lives matter, gun control, your parents' will and estate, and vaccines. Did you have any honorable mentions?
I had a couple. I had Uncle Thomas's divorce. Probably shouldn't bring that up at dinner. Why in the shit did Limp Bizkit cover the Who's Behind Blue Eyes? I still don't know why. And that was played on the radio for a long time. And my last one was like undercooked or overcooked food. Just eat the food.
Yeah.
Just eat the food, or just, push it.
You know
around
what
your
will make
plate.
this better? This needs a little salt.
Yeah.
She
Turkey's
just
a little dry.
She woke up at 3 o'clock to start cooking, and
Yeah.
you're gonna say it needs a little. Go get the fucking salt.
Nah,
like,
man,
just
the
do it.
Turkey's dry. You just add gravy. Add more gravy. You'll be
Yeah.
right.
So I did have talk about your new religion. I had talk about your amazing sex life. Bring up cancel culture. Talk about your depression, and then talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh,
So,
no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And they'll be
Those
televised. They play every Thanksgiving Day. So
Yeah, those are it. So I got to get better at making graphics and stuff and posting that stuff on our socials for like what our drafts are and stuff like that. Cause they're we got some pretty good ones out there. But anyways, rants and raves. Tony, you got a rant and rave for this week.
I do. I've got a rant, and you saw me starting to get into this on, I don't remember if it was our group chat or if it was on Twitter. You shared like a TikTok thing or a YouTube thing, but I bitched about it before. It's like, why do they have those tiny little mics? Use a normal mic. For the love of God. I went out and like, it's just so ridiculous when they bring those things out. They're like, I don't even know what they're holding. Like, is that a joint? What is that? But they're talking into it. So you know it's a mic. So like I like to be a little excessive. I got my own microphone. That's Tony. I'm the host of the 58 West King Fantasy Football Podcast. Can you hear me? It's fucking ginormous.
Smash or pass. Smash or pass. Justin Fields.
I spent a lot of time on that. People better appreciate it. That was like a good 30 minutes, 2 rolls of tape. Got construction paper. That's what I think of though. Like, it's just so ridiculous. It's like you could have a giant ass mic. I tried to buy one. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Or you have that little tiny one they hold. I don't know. I don't get it. What's the story? There's a story behind it, right?
It kind of got popular during COVID. So people were doing like little podcasts and stuff like that. And it became good for TikTok type content because TikTok really blew up in COVID, right? Because the content is really good and it's easy to navigate and stuff like that. It's super user friendly. And it was like a special thing on Amazon, and one account blew up with it, and they were just talking into it, right, with their friends over Zoom, and they did that, and then all of a sudden it was like, yo, where'd you get that mic? It's kind of funny, right? So the mic became viral, and now a bunch of people use them.
It's so dumb. You're supposed to clip that on your shirt. You can hear everything. You can hear everything. Why?
No, it's so much better when they talk.
It's distracting.
Like this.
Okay, like I can't even tell you the videos you've sent. I can't tell you what they're talking about because I'm only focused on the tiny mic.
Tony, speaking to the tiny mic. That's funny. I should have viewed it.
That's it.
All right, my rant and rave is that fantasy analyst once again on Twitter. Like, you cannot continue these fucking threats. Like, how do you feel good about yourself, or how do people that are playing fantasy football feel good about themselves with being like the absolute least common denominator out there? Talked about it. You're talking about waiver wire players to add. Like, you're talking about just generic stuff, and it's all just clickbait shit of like 15 things in a thread. I get that it's easy to be engaged with. It's easy to put your shit out there for free, right? Maybe post a picture of your article. I would much rather not click through a bunch of things on Twitter, because I would say the majority of Twitter users are using it on their phone, right? I do use it on my computer at work and stuff like that when I'm there, because I can't have my phone there. But the majority of people are doing that. I would much rather you just post like an article you wrote for whatever your website is or something like that, right? If you want to put the content out there for free, right, and provide some value that way, post the article as a picture so that I could just save it or screenshot it to my phone and look at it on the shitter later on. Or if I'm doing something, I see this, oh yeah, I want to go back here and I don't want to have to go read through this, right? and scroll and scroll and scroll, and then I see someone else's comments or anything like that. I just want the data. Quit with that shit. Quit putting players out there that everybody knows about. Quit doing, I'm going to take my victory lap on this person when everybody else sat there and did the same fucking thing. It's not like you were any different. Your stands are not different. The things that are different are, I would take Joe Mixon 3rd overall. Alan Lazard is the league winner when he's getting drafted in the fucking 9th round. He should be drafted in the 4th, 5th. Stuff like that. I'm saying that just because it comes to my mind, because those are things that I talked about, right? Not that I'm some fucking guru or anything like that, but come up with your own takes. You can't sit there and be groupthink. Groupthink is the fucking dumbest thing that there is in fantasy sports. It's so lazy. Like, come up with your own formula. Come up with your reasons why. Don't come up with the same fucking data that everybody else is using, because it's just lazy. If you're starting out, yeah, it's cool, right? You got to start somewhere. You start with a certain metric, you move on, you add and you add and you add, and then you do different things. Like, there's a guy who talked about, I think he's like a Niners podcaster or something like that, right? Just some guy who has a podcast about the 49ers. He's got a lot of followers, but he talks about Trent. He watched all 22 and Trent Williams tips, right? Yep. I think you probably saw it went super viral on Twitter. It's like, where his foot placement is, tips run or pass, right? Like, that's an indicator. Okay, that's good, right? That's good. Now, what defenses can key in on that? What defenses are good that the Niners have a positive matchup with, but they might be able to key on this kind of stuff? Or what do they run out of these type of things? Who gets the ball? Okay, this person's probably more likely to get the ball in these type of matchups because they look more likely to run. And in this stance, he does this. And in this stance, he does this. And it opens up this gap for this or whatever it is, right? Come up with some actual analysis. Not Christian Watson went for fucking 3 touchdowns on 4 catches and 100 yards, 40% target share, but not label the fact that they only threw it 20 times and he got 8 of the targets. What happens when they throw it 40 times? Do you expect them to get 16 targets in a game? That's outrageous. 1 week having it, right? Quit with the lazy shit. I mean, if you're new at it, cool, right? You got to start somewhere. You're learning metrics, go. But these dudes are claiming to be like ultra professionals, hundreds of thousands of followers and all this kind of stuff. And it's super lazy. It's super annoying. And it's just dumb shit for the clicks. And if they're getting paid to do this shit, it's worse than what Bill Cowher thought about Jeff Saturday getting a job as an NFL head coach. However, how much broadcast experience did Bill Cowher have prior to getting a job as Bill Cowher, the sports analyst on CBS, Fox, whatever he's on, when there's people who are doing journalism and they're making shows on YouTube or they're doing their local television or whatever like that? How many of those people got the shot, right? Shut the fuck up, as Pat McAfee said on his show on Monday. It was fucking hilarious, dude. He literally told Bill Cowher, shut the fuck up. You should watch that. Like, there's clips out there about it. It's so good. I watch it every day because it's like, you got to watch the dudes you aspire to be, right? Like, or you admire in your type of work, right? What do they do? What gets them good? How do they act?
Oh, he's so electric. He's so electric.
He's the best.
That Twitter thing, I agree 100%. I don't even follow this dude. It's like Sal Valenti or something like that.
Him and the other dude who has like the pinkish background, who looks like he takes it in the ass.
P2W fantasy.
No, not him. Not him. It's because P2W fantasy. Yeah, that guy, right? And he got a shout out from Matt Berry about his work ethic and all this kind of stuff. And I look at it and I'm like, that's just lit. I think it's lazy, right? Right. But maybe you have to teach to the lowest common denominator. We're in 2022. You know how to play fantasy football. Like, there's not many people who are like, I don't know the NFL, right? Like, it's life now or whatever like that. P2W fantasy, I do respect a lot of his work because that dude grinds out on TikTok. And I follow him on TikTok and he doesn't get a lot of engagement or whatever, and he just keeps going and keeps going. It's been like a year and a half or whatever like that, right? And I think he worked for like Fantasy Points or something like that too.
I don't know how that dude does it. He's a teacher. He coaches, I think, soccer. He goes to the gym every morning, like 4 or 5. I think he's like on the East Coast or he's in the Midwest or something. And then he gets home. He's married. I think they have a kid.
Yep.
And then he still has time to podcast almost every day, do all of this analysis, do the TikTok videos, do the tweets. He has the threads. He also does the threads. I thought you were talking about him because he's one of them.
No.
But like, don't blame those guys. A couple of them, they're just not likable. I don't have to name names, but it gets to the top of the feed. It gets to the top of everyone's feed. Like
All
I
the
said,
time.
that Sal guy, I don't follow him.
Yeah.
Yet every single time I open my app, I'll open it right now, and he's probably at the top with it, like a 12 post thread.
Let me see. We're gonna do an experiment right here.
Test
Let's
this
see.
theory.
That's the theory. Go back to the top of the. This is really good for audio.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Nope, not for me.
Luke's
Maybe it's because I've seen it all.
Luke's pretty close to the top of mine.
Yep, he's the third one.
He's got
for
a
me.
thread on his Kenneth Walker trade. He's got like 10 comments in it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just annoying. Like, it just feels. I get if it's something deep. We are in week 10, going into week 11. You don't need to tell me about Isaiah Pacheco, who everybody drafted, who you said, the analyst said, this is the guy in Kansas City, but then 4 weeks in, you dropped him. If he's the guy, you look for him to take over, you hold on to it, you stick to your take or whatever like that, right?
Yep.
Granted, some injury, whatever, but that's not the case. He was getting play, right? And it's slowly but surely. This is what happens with rookie running backs, right? Like, you're slowly but surely going to get in, especially if there's a guy there. Like, don't tell me Isaiah Pacheco in week 11, after he gets all the touches and CEH gets like four snaps.
4 snaps. Crazy.
I know. I don't need your fucking thread. I watch football. Like,
here's 12 tweets about it all in one place.
your tweet about, or your advice of who you should pick up on waivers, I should not be able to go to like the ESPN app and look at projected and hit the most projected points and it be one of the top 3 or 4 players. That does nothing for me.
Yeah.
Find me a guy deep, why, and all, right?
Who is 2022's Dare Ogunbowale, who won Chris our damn Champions League championship last year? That's what we're looking for.
Who is the Khalif Raymond of last year?
Oh, God. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like a guy that nobody has on the roster for a team who's not that great, but you see something, right? Actual analysis. Analysis. Fuck. Anyways, that's probably going to happen a lot more.
That was a long rant.
Dude, Tony, all right. I mean, are we going to end up? So I talk a lot about this stuff, right? And I used to do a lot of analysis stuff. I don't like being in the business of being an analyst piece, right? I just like having hot takes. I don't want to do rankings and all that kind of stuff. Although I think my rankings smash your guys' rankings. I'll send you my sheets after the season or whatever like that. But they were my things that I drafted off of. You saw my paperwork, right? I had my data in front of me when I drafted. Part of it was because I felt like I had guys so much higher than everybody else would that I did not want to share it with you. And it's becoming fruitful because I am sitting in 4th place in this league and you are a bottom barrel of the basket.
Whoa.
I mean, who was the best analyst last year out of the people who
we're talking about Taco Corp. Keenan Allen has what's Keenan Allen played like a healthy half of football. Rashad Bateman out for
buried on my chart. On my chart.
Gabe Davis Duvernay. Ankle sprain.
I had Duvernay over him.
Who else we got? We got Michael Pittman injured. Colts underachieving. Jerry Jeudy just got injured again. Might be done for the year. I'm not sure.
Imagine selecting a Denver Broncos wide receiver with Russell Wilson at quarterback.
Daniel Hackett. I'm not making injury excuses.
Sounds like you're making injury excuses.
Jonathan Taylor with the ankle sprain. Come on.
Stinks. No. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. We've been going for like an hour and a half. So
this is a record setter.
Yeah. I expected some of the segment stuff to go a little quicker.
Yeah.
Like our would you rathers and stuff like that. Granted, we did a full would you rather with every quarterback in the NFL. So maybe we'll cut that down a little bit. But we're going to get like 4 or 5, maybe 8 clips out of it, right? One for every division.
You packed a lot in.
Good. Yeah. So we get 8 clips out of that for socials. Maybe people will watch a little bit more. Anyways, another rant, Rafe. Can I get somebody to help me out with video and shit like that? We need somebody in this league who's willing to just sacrifice their nights so that we can not have to fucking work. Like, you guys are going to get out of whatever you're doing, right? You guys are going to retire from your jobs here because you've done great work for a numerous amount of time. We don't need to be working regular jobs. We need to be sitting around a table talking every single day about the breaking news in sports and having fun with each other.
Yeah.
And it's all about video editors. For the audio listeners, Tony's got his big microphone in place. So it's really good. Anyways, let's pay some homage. Tony, 58 West King podcast. What you guys got going on over there?
We're doing our weekly NFL preview episodes. Those should hit Wednesdays or Thursdays. We pick all the matchups. I think we have another 14 going into week 11. So you should see that Wednesday night, Thursday morning. We are batting about 6:15, Matt and I, on the year. So, I mean, we're up there with guys like Jeff Ratcliffe, and then we're giving it to you for free. You're getting all of them for free. Listen to the pod. Follow us on Twitter. We post the picks there at 58W King Podcast or at Graham the Man 69. And then I write some stuff. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll be able to see it. So check it out.
Nice. Charlotte, tell you I found your stuff.
Did you? What do you think? Good, bad, ugly?
Yeah, it's good.
It's very low level. I mean, I'm not.
I did tell her I didn't want to tell Tony, but this is when you were recording, right? I was like, I didn't want to tell Tony, but I tweeted on Twitter at work, and I was looking up his thing. I was looking for your website because you had mentioned that you write a little bit, right? So I was like Googling your website, but it takes me to all these podcast platforms. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to his Twitter bio. And then I read your Twitter bio and I was like, oh, contributor. I was like, what the fuck is this? Clicked on it, right? And I was like, oh, this dude writes every week here, right? So I was like reading it or whatever. Yeah. I don't know that. I don't know that platform and like this person over this person over this person. So it intrigued me. I just haven't looked into it yet, but I read some of your work, whatever like that. But that's why I was like, I don't want to get into the content type of stuff or, the analysis stuff. But part of me is like, it'd be fun to do it with my friends, we just start stuff. It's all free. It's open, right? Or whatever. Anybody can read it. We don't have paywalls or anything like that, and just do it and have fun and try to get better at it, and we got another 80 years on this fucking planet.
I've got a website. It's up there. All my articles on that website are from preseason. Everything in season, I've written, I think, 17 articles. Once the next one posts tomorrow, that is all on that website.
Nice.
Again, follow me on Twitter. You go see it.
You write those? You write those at work, or you write those at home?
No, I wish. I write them at home. I'll start on Monday night. Once you have most of the data right from the previous week, it's loaded into like Football Outsiders, PFF, and wherever you're getting your data from.
Yep.
I'll just start writing it, then I'll finish it Tuesdays, and they'll post it usually on Wednesdays. They might post something for like a Sunday night or Monday night game too, but for the most part, I just do like the Wednesday article.
Let's think tank shit after the season.
Okay.
Because I think in different ways too, right?
Yeah.
And I like being like, hey, this is how I think or this is how I analyze, right? But I don't want to like be up in someone's business when they have a process, right? Like, hey, look at this, right? And you throw it off. It's like then you start fucking up and not sticking to what you do and then improving. So let's think tank. I think that'll be fun.
It helps. Like we're doing this. You don't do as much NFL stuff as Matt and I do, but like I'm looking at all this data anyways. Like, why don't I just put it into words? Like I'll have my show notes up for an episode, a weekly episode on our show, and it's like 2,000 words. I'm like, I could just take half of this and make an article. And that's kind of what I've been doing this year. So
that it made me think about, it's like, oh, this is where Tony gets all his data from because he's actually doing this work prior to. He's actually prepared for a podcast, not like this. This is why we're at an hour 30 or so right now. Also, check out Terrence's podcast. So you can check out Tony's podcast, 58 West King. It's linked down below in the description. So if you are watching this on YouTube, hopefully you're watching this on YouTube, or you're listening on the audio, whatever it may be, the link's down there. Go check it out. It's really good. It's really fun. The best episodes are when you see with Nate Molinay or anything like that on it. They're electric and not par for the course for 58 West King. Check out Whiskey Flick Podcast. New episode coming. We're creating shirts. We're gonna start a merch line, Tony. Whiskey Flick Pod 2024. That's when we're gonna get a new episode for Whiskey Flick Podcast.
We've got so much time to get this merch prepared.
Yeah, that episode we're good. Let's start a merch line.
Has Terrence listened? Has Terrence made a comment about it?
I don't know. I don't know if he listens. He seems to be pretty busy and stuff like that too. So, Whiskey Flick Podcast. They talk about movies. They drink booze. And if you want to know everything in and out about a movie, the production, the music score, the actors, and what the vision of the film was supposed to be, what it's going to be, and all this kind of stuff, go check out that podcast. It's linked down below. Me and Tony have been on it. Hey, if you're into Christmas, we got a Die Hard episode. It is electric, and those are the best episodes when me and Tony are on them, because we have these fan fights, and that we're always on the opposite sides. That's why he thinks Justin Fields is a good quarterback. I'm gonna go down this list, and I will mark off the people that I think are better than this, and then I'm gonna create an actual list of people who I'd rather have as a quarterback. Whoo! Jeff Saturday got
that Die Hard episode, banger. Go listen to it.
Banger. Speaking of bangers, banger of the week. Before we leave you for the week, banger of the week is brought to you by bangerx.com. If you just got out of a relationship, or you've been out of a relationship for a while, and you've wondered, who's my ex banging? Are they banging anybody? Can I bang them? You can go to bangerx.com and you can go and find your ex there. And if you find your ex, both of you guys have mutual agreements, because you're there to bang your ex. Once you see each other, you rekindle the fire, you go bang them out, and you never talk again. bangerx.com, bangyourx.com. Banger of the week. Jeff Saturday got a victory. He's the best NFL coach currently, the only undefeated NFL coach currently in the 2022 season. Him, TJ Watt, undefeated. I forget there's one more that's undefeated as well in the league. But anyways, Jeff Saturday in elite company with TJ Watt, undefeated 2022. Ludacris Saturday. Ooh, ooh. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.